improv tip. So up till now and all the way along, we've been talking about two-person scenes. Strong, relationship-based, game-driven two-person scenes. I talked specifically about the game of the scene last week in this video here, bing, and then I also talked about a little bit in this video here, bing. And so if you haven't seen those videos, please go watch those because that's going to set the stage for what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is what do we do with these relationship-based, game-driven two-person scenes? How do we bring them forward? How do we connect them together? Well, there's one way that I'm not going to talk about today, which is story. And that's really the easiest way. I mean, even little kids can make stories. This happened, and then this happened, and this happened. And we're natural story-making creatures. So that's one easy way to do it for sure. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. What I'm going to talk about today is three other ways of bringing those scenes forward. And if we're starting with the two-person scene, one thing we can do is called a time dash. That is, we see those same two people, those same two characters playing their same character games, as mentioned in those videos earlier. We see them playing their same games in a new situation. Maybe it's forward in time, maybe it's backward in time, maybe it's really sort of off the timeline. The timeline is sort of like a linear thing, but maybe it sort of takes place here or here, outside the timeline. But it's well, we call it a time dash because we're following the same two characters forward or backward or somewhere in time. The same two characters again. The second way is a character dash, where we follow one of those characters from that original scene and their game into a new scene with a new partner, right? And we call this a character dash because we're following one character, one of those two characters. And the third way is called a world dash, and that is we don't follow either of the characters, we follow the world, like what's another part of this world that they're in. So let's talk about an example that will show all of those things. So in the very first scene, maybe it is two people who work at a 7-Eleven. One is a dreamer and one is a realist. These are their big playable games, right, as mentioned in those videos. To do a time dash, we might see the first scene might be them working at work, and then the time dash might be the two of them at home at one of the guys at the realist apartment, and they're going to get together and watch a fight, do something fun, right? This also sort of works into a video that we talked about earlier. This video here, bing, work, home, play, is a good way to think and generate ideas of moving those scenes forward. Now, what would a character dash off that original scene be? Well, we see our first two characters in 7-Eleven. One is a dreamer, one's a realist. Then we follow the dreamer with someone else. We see him in a new situation. Maybe he is at softball practice, and we see him talking to his coach, and he's talking about how he's going to hit home runs and be the best. So we see his game and his character in a totally different part of his same world. It's his same world, but it's a different part of his world, not away from work, and we see him playing his game in that situation. And the third one is a world dash. So maybe the first scene is two people in a 7-Eleven, they're working at 7-Eleven. Maybe the next scene is two cops in the back of that 7-Eleven having coffee together. Or maybe it's two robbers getting ready to rob that 7-Eleven. Or maybe it's, two people at 7-Eleven corporate. It could be whatever, but it's in that same world of a 7-Eleven. Okay? So keep those three things in mind. Three ways bring scenes forward: a time dash, a character dash, and a world dash. Okay? And using that in conjunction with work, home, play should help you generate a bunch of ideas or a bunch of ways for bringing scenes forward. Oh, the last thing I want to say is when we have these three tools in our pocket, the three basic ways of pulling scenes forward, then we can use a little thing called strategy. If the first scene, both characters' games are good, then maybe that's great for a time dash. Maybe in the first scene, one character's game is really strong and really clear, and maybe the other character's game isn't. So then you know what? We can play our one strong card. We can follow that one character's game we really understand. And we can sort of follow our strongest card. Or maybe neither of the characters' games are really strong, but we don't want to totally abandon that scene and start fresh. So what I can do is I can follow the world. I can go to someplace else in that world. So now I have a little strategy. I don't have to just follow the same two characters over and over and over again. I can strategize. I can always go for like the strongest idea that I have, or play my strongest card as the scenes move forward. Okay? Try that out in your work. Comment down below. Let me know how it works out for you guys, and I'll see you next week. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Please leave me a comment down below and tell me what you would like to hear an improv tip about. And also, please subscribe and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All the links are in the description down below. Thanks.